Hi, Beverly.
Hi, Bonnie. Morning to you.
Hi, friends. My name is Bonnie. I'm the Community Engagement Team Leader at Princeton Alliance Church, and this is my friend Beverly. She also serves at the church, and she is a great support to our family life team here. I've known Beverly for years, and in this time, I think it's important that we share some stories of encouragement. Beverly is an amazing lady. I've known her for a long time, and her children, and her husband, and I thought her story would encourage you today. So, Bev, would you share a little bit about your story with us?
Sure. Thank you. Um, what came to my mind the most as we're all experiencing some fear, et cetera, is the beginning of my walk, learning about God, et cetera. And that starts around 1999, 2000. And right before that, my mom had died. And for me, that was really crucial because I don't know about anybody else, but as much as my mom and I had our tiffs or whatever, she was my biggest cheerleader. And so losing that was very tough for me. No one else cheered me on like my mom did at that point in time in my life. As you said before, I have two children, LD and Janae, and LD is severely disabled mentally. He is dependent upon others to meet his needs, probably by about 95%. And on top of the two children and the husband, I also work full time. And I was experiencing uh, lots of stress and anxiety in balancing the work needs, the family needs, etc. And if you could say overwhelmed and put it in capital letters, that was me. I just didn't have peace in my life, and it seemed to be always be something that I was seeking. Around that time also, Janae got to come to PAC, and she went to the summer camp, and she absolutely loved it.
Was that
And
your first?
from there, she started waking.
Was that your first
Yes,
experience?
that was yes. And at that time that she came, I actually also volunteered with a different grade. But from that, Janae loved it. We started coming on Sunday because she would wake me up and say, "Come on, let's go to church." And so in the beginning, it was Janae there, and I was in the cafe area with LD. And what would happen is I would sit with him to watch the service because there was nowhere else that was quite right for him at that point in time. And from there, I was noticed, and some people came up and asked me if I wanted to attend the service, and they would be glad to watch LD. And that's what happened. And I found by going into the service a whole different experience. I loved the music. The music was very soothing. And although I didn't understand everything that the pastor was saying, I found that he made the words relevant to me and what I was experiencing in my life or other people were, which is applicable. It wasn't a book that was just sitting in my house getting all dusty. It became alive. The words became alive for me. So from there, um, I also started taking Janae to, they used to have a program called Worship on Wednesdays. When she first started, she was in the K through 5 group. And while she was doing that, I had the opportunity to volunteer and use my skill set to do some office work. Um, and that was really cool because I was doing something that was worthwhile. Um, and at the same time, I was feeling like I was a part of something. I felt like I was a part of a community. I was part of a family. And that gave me an opportunity to ask more questions. And from the questions, I started to get more and more of an understanding of my relationship with God, what needed to happen.
How did that impact your emotions of being overwhelmed and find
For me, I think instead of feeling hopeless, I started to have hope. I learned that there were a better way to manage my daily life, that God wasn't just something for Sunday, that it needed to be part of my daily life. And from that, hope came, and I felt loved by God. I felt loved by others, and I saw how people cared for each other, not because they had to, but because they wanted to. And people were always sharing their stories where they were relevant. And it helped me to see nobody was perfect. Um, and that being vulnerable is something I think you do really well. People can learn from it and they can grow from it. So I looked ahead in my life with expectation and not with fear, because God promised me that He was with me. He would stay with me. And if I just gave my small piece of faith, that mustard seed, that He would grow it. And He's done that. Um, I'm not where I was before, and I still have continual room to grow, but I love that. And as I look at a time that we're in right now, it's difficult and it can be scary at times, but I don't hold on to anxiety to the extent I used to.
where do you find peace?
For me, peace is definitely in music, listening to music. I can't sing a lick, but I just love music. I love the songs. I also find it in reading and being in a study with other people. And I do love my community group. It's a group that we've been meeting with, Leslie and I, for I don't even know how many years now, but it's 6 couples. And we're all dealing with many of the same experiences, and it just helps to use that to again remember that none of us are perfect. Don't play that comparison game, but to look to one another for help in life, if we keep it God-centered. So they are reminders, as well as women in our office, even guys in our office, and just to stay focused. And when you don't stay focused, you can trust that somebody who cares about you is going to say, come back this way.
Yeah, there's times when we walk by each other and we know because we've spent some time together and
Mm-hmm.
say, hey, Miss Bev, that's not true of you, but we know it is true of you. You don't need to live in fear. We do that for each other. There's accountability. That's the accountability part that you're talking about. And we need to do
Correct.
it in community. I know my group met last Friday for the first time on our Zoom call, and it was just so encouraging to see one another's faces, to hear one another's voices. And we have a member of our community group that recently moved out of the area, but they were on the Zoom call with us, so it was good to see them again.
Mm.
We can make use of this technology to see one another, to hear one another, and to encourage one another. You have definitely been an encouragement to me over the years. I remember back when your daughter Janae and a bunch of other people went to do some hurricane relief. Um, she was only in middle school at that time. Um, and my couple of my kids were in that van too. This feels somewhat similar to those experiences that we've had as we've served other people in different places where people have been in need, and the people of our congregation have met those needs. Just this time is, because we're separated, not just by this environment, but we we can still get together in times like this. And I'm just so grateful for you and sharing your story with us. Um, Thanks for taking the time today. You've been an encouragement, and hopefully, friends, all of our friends out there and in our community, um, be with someone, make a phone call, text someone, pray with someone, lend a helping hand where you can, observing the laws of the land, um, but knowing that our God is faithful and true. We can trust Him even if we've got that little mustard seed of faith. He'll do something great with it. Thanks, Bev.
Thank you, Bonnie.
Have a good day.
You too.